Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, June 13th Common Council meeting. The time is 7 p.m. We'll begin with the roll call. Joanne?
Mayor Kim Smith,
Here.
Sean McAllister,
Present on Zoom.
Dan Stevens,
Present.
Stephen Knott,
Present.
Leanne Stokes. Here. Larry Jurassic,
Present.
Diane Wolf. Here.
Thank you. Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. Item 3, Rules of the City of Onalaska Common Council and its subcommittees. This is a harassment-free forum. The City Council and subcommittee meetings shall be conducted in a courteous manner. Citizens, council, and committee members shall be allowed to state their positions in an atmosphere free of slander, obscene remarks, or threats of violence. Sufficient warnings may be given by the sergeant at arms or the chair at any time during the remarks. And in the event that any individual shall violate the rules of decorum as set forth, such person may then be cut off from comment or debate. Item 4 is public input. Now is the time. If you would like to address the Common Council, please come up to the microphone, or if you're online, raise your hand or begin to speak. Say your name, your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Would anyone like to address the Common Council this evening? Okay, come on, one of you come on up. Everyone will get a turn. Make sure that mic is on and tell us your name and address, please.
Are you on? Is that on?
It sounds like it
Okay.
is. Good job.
Kathy Edwards, and I live 616 8th Avenue North here in Onalaska.
Go ahead.
And I'm here to represent Oak. And one of the purposes of Oak is to bring more attention to art and the beauty of our area. The Rocking Sunfish does just that. It's so colorful and fun. It will be a great addition to Dash Park. And it will bring a fun and beautiful activity to the park for adults and children. It will be a great photo op for Facebook and for people to post for their families and friends. And just represent Onalaska in such a neat way. And I think it's a good opportunity and a good starting point to see what kind of reaction we get from the community. And I think visitors are going to think it's a pretty cool thing to have there. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Hi, my name is Mike Milkey. I live at 707 Pleasant Court, Onalaska. I'm actually here talking about the sunfish as well. My neighbor is Joyce Dively, who's been a big proponent and obviously is the one painting I got to look at this morning. It's pretty neat, but basically I just want to make a quick statement. The Onalaska Art Keepers have been working for many months now on our first rocking sunfish. We hope to have this ready by late June or early July. Many hours have gone into the creation of a safe and interesting piece of interactive art. We've redesigned for safety and tried to meet all the necessary criteria the city has required and still add something fun to our city. For best visibility, where cars and walkers travel the most, we'd really like to see the first fish in the area at Dash Park, where the Christmas tree usually sits in November and December. The sunfish will be put away for the winter before the Christmas tree arrives and won't reappear until the following spring. David Reyes has been very supportive of this location as it will bring more people into the park and the restaurant goers can watch the people riding the sunfish. This will bring vibrancy and fun to the city of Onalaska, which is what I heard our city planner bring up at one of our past meetings was a goal for the city. Please make the north area of Dash Park your prime consideration for the location, the first rockin' sunfish. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You'll still have to state your name. We know who you are.
Yeah, Joe Chilson, 500 10th Avenue North. It's a little different from sitting from this side of the the DS and looking in instead of looking out. I'm here also to talk about the rock and sunfish. The difference between vibrant communities and communities that are just eking by are new and exciting things that happen that enable us to have a greater quality of life. I think Oak is the embodiment of that for the city of Onalaska. They're doing new things, murals and pop-up art, and now rock and sunfish. And I think it would be a great disservice not to put it in Dash Park, because that is going to give maximum exposure to us. And when people drive by, they say, you know, City of Onalaska got some stuff going on. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal. And you know better than anybody sitting out here about how budgets work. If you're not growing, you're dying when it comes to state budget guidelines. So we need to continue to grow as a city. And I think the way to grow is to make that quality of life even better. I mean, we got a great quality of life here, but you know how people are. What have you done for me lately? And I think we need to continue to move forward with new and exciting things. And this is one of those new and exciting things. We'll bring more people down to Dash Park. It'll make that dash in everybody's life, maybe just a little fatter, just a little longer. I know Barb and Dave are behind this rock and sunfish coming into that park, because we've spoken to them about this. And I think it behooves the council to really place that in a place of maximum exposure. It's a park. It needs to be treated like a park, and people need to get into that park and make it more vibrant, to make this community more vibrant. So I'm encouraging you, please, please place that rock and sunfish at a place of maximum exposure, which is Dash Park. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Hello, good evening. My name is Jeff Trader. I live at N8680 County Road TA in Mindoro. I am with River Architects, and I am here this evening representing the Cooley Region Humane Society on their application request for rezoning, which is consent agenda item 7M. And I am just here this evening in case there's any questions that come up through the course of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to address the Common Council this evening? Is there any online people that would like to address the Common Council? Last chance. Anyone want to address the Common Council this evening? Okay, thank you, everyone. Public input is now closed. We'll move on to item 5, the public hearing. This is to consider a resolution to vacate and discontinue a portion of Overhill Drive located in section 32, township 17, range 7 west, city of Onalaska, La Crosse County, Wisconsin. This resolution 24-2023 will be addressed later under the Plan Commission non-consent agenda item 10, but we'll have the public hearing at this time. So I'll ask first if anyone would like to speak in favor of this resolution to vacate and discontinue a portion of Overhill Drive. Does anyone wish to speak in favor? Third and final request for those wishing to speak in favor. That portion of the public hearing is now closed, and I'll open it up if anyone would like to speak against the consideration to vacate and discontinue a portion of Overhill Drive. Second call for anyone wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against. Okay, the public hearing is now closed. And as I mentioned, we'll discuss this later on in our agenda. Item 6 is a report from the mayor, the 2022 tourism statistics. I had the honor of gathering together with Governor Evers and others earlier last week to celebrate the numbers coming out from the 2022 budget. It was a record-breaking year. The statistics are included in the packet, but the visitor spending, the direct spending was up 16% over 2021. And the numbers were just outstanding. So thank you to all those visitors, and all Explore La Crosse and our own staff is doing to promote tourism in our region, because it really pays dividends for us in many ways. Thank you. Okay, next is recommendations for approval and/or possible action from the following committees, commissions, boards, and officials. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests removal, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in the order of business in the non-consent agenda. Are there any items the councilors would like removed? Leanne?
Yes, I would like 7Y removed. This is the approval of the certified survey map CSM application to subdivide one parcel into a total of 3 parcels and dedicate a new public right-of-way located at 2614 Midwest Drive, Onalaska, tax parcel number 18-4769-1.
Thank you. Are there any other items the councilors would like removed from the consent agenda? If there are no other items, I'd like to consider a motion to approve.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion has been made by Alderperson Diane Wolf. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now we will come back to item 8, a recap of items pulled from the consent agenda. We have item 7Y, and there was I'll turn it over to Leanne to make a motion regarding this item.
Yes, I would like to turn it to Jared. He had a meeting with the owner of that property.
Katie, do you want to lead this?
Sure thing. Thank you, Mayor. The property owner has requested that the common council take no action on this particular item. It may be coming before you at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll consider a motion to table item 7Y.
I move to table item 7Y.
I second it.
Motion by Dan Stevens, seconded by Leanne Stokes to table this item. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 9, Finance Committee, Alder Stokes.
Yes, the following is a list of monies expended since the last common council meeting dated May 9th, 2023 in the amount of $1,925,330.11.
Move to approve.
Do I have it moved to approve?
Second.
This item, the vouchers have now been, the items have now been seconded in this amount, and is there any discussion?
Okay, not hearing any discussion. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 10 is Plan Commission. Item A, Resolution 24-2023. This is a resolution, a final resolution to vacate and discontinue a portion of Overhill Drive located in Section 32, Township 17, Range 7 West, City of Onalaska, La Crosse County, Wisconsin. This is the item for which we had the public hearing at the start of this meeting, and the Plan Commission is in favor of supporting this resolution.
I'll move to approve resolution number 24-2023.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Alder Knott. It's been seconded by Alder Jurassic. Is there any discussion? Not hearing any discussion. All those in favor of approving this resolution, please vote aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 11 is from the Park, Rec, and Library Board. I'll turn it over to Larry Jurassic.
Thank you, Mayor. Director Dan Wicks wanted to speak on this item.
Thank you, Alder Jurassic. So this item comes before you tonight. We did not have a park board. This item came before the park board back in September of 2022, came to the council in October, November, and in January. At January's meeting, the recommendation was that the Oak Group could move forward with one prototype. The council approved one prototype, and then the location would be determined at a later time. The Oak Group has come forward. They've actually, there's a picture, they're painting it and ready to have it placed. And so that's why you see this item back before you tonight is a location for the Rocking Sunfish to be placed.
Thank you. Is there a recommendation from the Park Board?
The park board approved this back in September. And so the council gave the recommendation in January that they could move forward with it, but it had to come back before the council determined the location of placement of it. So that's why it's here tonight. The decision of having the Rocking Sunfish has all been approved. It's just the location now at this time.
Thank you.
No, but what does the park say about the location?
What?
What is the
The park board approved the location. The council is the one that went on record and said they wanted to come back before the council to determine the location, not the park board. It was back to the council for that.
Thank you, Dan.
Alder Knott?
So, I still have concerns. I know I've voiced them in the past, about Dash Park. Ultimately, I think the three main things that, I personally would be concerned with the placing of the Rocking Sunfish would be safety, fit, and exposure. And exposure is something that's been mentioned by several of the public input folks from Oak that came up and talked to some of their supporters. The issues I have with Dash Park, and I've voiced them in the past, is it's got traffic on three sides, two of which are a lot of traffic. I know that we had an individual during public input talk about how good it would be for the children, and that's one of my concerns is this park, Dash Park, is not a playground park. It is more of a venue-oriented park that, at least I perceive, is more focused on adult activities than it is on children playing. I think there are a lot of other options that still meet the fit and exposure, but also are a lot safer. Ones that I would consider for discussion or approval primarily would be Roe Park, Community Park, or Van Riper Park. And even Van Riper, it could potentially, instead of just being in the park, be up with the Omni Center. So you have a lot of people coming in and out that could see that. I can't support Dash Park having an item that is meant to be played with in a high traffic area. I just think it is not appropriate.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alder Jurassic?
Your Honor.
Attended.
Your Honor, could we get a motion on the floor?
Oh, okay. Alder Wolf?
Thank you, Your Honor. I will, since you insist, City Clerk, I will move to graciously thank Oak and accept the Rockin' Sunfish and direct park staff for future placement, sans, i.e. minus consideration of Dash Park.
I'll second that.
I second.
Okay, Alder Knott already did. So we have a motion on the floor by Alder Wolf. And it has been seconded by Stephen Knott, and the motion is anywhere other than Dash Park to short term it. Okay, Alder Wolf?
Thank you, Your Honor. So a few things. I want to thank everyone for contacting me. I know I've had some for, I've had some against, I've had phone calls, emails, texts. I did tap Jared Holter as our Director of Public Works I wanted to know about traffic count, because I think traffic count is always important because I like facts. So I did ask him and he humored me and he sent me traffic count as of, for traffic in front of Dash Park on Second Avenue, State Highway 35, 14,500 annual average daily traffic, 14.5. And that count was taken in July of 2021. I also asked about Sunny because I'm just looking for different sites and such. I just asked for 2. For traffic on State Highway 35 in front of the Sunfish, Wayside, 9,900 annual average daily traffic count was taken in August of 2021. Please note that this is in both directions. So this is the number of vehicles passing that point in an average day. Secondly, I myself would be comfortable with the placement if Parks were to go ahead. But once again, my motion is to give it to Parks. I think we set policy, we do budget, and then we pass it on to the departments and we stay in our lane. And that's why I'm looking at this motion. My only input though would be when I talk about the possibility of Great River Landing would be, and this is just my input, would be we already have parking on that side of the street where people don't have to cross the street. There's already the large parking lot where they can already access the Great River Landing. And that's why I would feel very comfortable personally putting it at Great River Landing. I would not feel comfortable putting it at Dash Park, but I will, I feel very comfortable though letting Parks decide. They're the ones who are going to have to handle it. They're the ones who have to install it. They're going to have to maintain it, remove it, work it in their schedule. And I think we should let Parks make that decision. After we've made the initial decision, they should be able to run with it. And maybe they'll find out that maybe it didn't work in a certain location. Maybe they move it around from year to year. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, does anyone else want to speak?
Yeah.
Is there anyone who hasn't spoke yet that would like to speak? I think you spoke. Leanne, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I agree with Alder Wolf. I think it should be in Parks purview to make the final decision. They're the best ones to know how much work it is in one certain place or another place. They also know how well it'll fit in one place or another place, because that's also got to be taken into consideration. How flat is the land? How big is this? And all of that. And Parks would be, in my mind, the place to go. But again, it needs to go in the way I look at it. It should go back to Parks to make the final decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Alder Stevens, are you going to speak or are you going to remove yourself?
I'm going to speak, but I will probably not vote.
Okay.
I don't think that would be appropriate. I've tried that in the past where I had recused myself and a lot of questions went unanswered. And I think Park Director, they were asked, Park Director Wick was like, the guy's right here that can answer that. And everybody kind of looked around like, I don't know what to do. And so I'm not going to lose my voice on this one again, but I will not vote on
Point
it.
of order for just one quick question. Alder Stevens, are you looking to speak as a representative of Oak or as an alderperson?
I am, at this point, I am speaking as a alderperson.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes those lines will get a little grayed because it's hard to have that not happen if you're in dual roles, but I do want to represent some information that was passed on. First, thinking back on some of the feedback and the discussions before, one thing that was cited was somebody assumed that the local businesses were not interested in having this downtown. And they cited one restaurant that it would be potentially right next to if that were indeed Dash Park. And I just wanted to remind, and I believe that gentleman had referenced this letter, but Matt Bashka is the proprietor of David Ray's restaurant, which is adjacent to Dash Park. And he responded to an email from Joyce and said, "Hey, Joyce, I want to send you an email letting you know that I think it's a great idea adding the Sunfish Rockers at Dash Park. I feel they will add more fun and laughter to the park which is always a good thing in my opinion. Great idea. Best of luck and have a good day. Regards, Matt A. Boschka. We also have several other businesses that have, are right down in that area. They have been nothing but supportive of having interesting things down in the community. Right across the street, you've got, there's Unwind, you've got Explore Lacrosse over at the Great River Landing. And to wit, the executive director of Explore Lacrosse has sent a letter. This is entitled "To the City of Onalaska." I will pass copies out if anybody else wants to take a look, and one could be maybe given to Joanne. As you know, AJ Friels is the director of Explore Lacrosse. The City of Onalaska partners with Explore Lacrosse, and a portion of the room tax dollars that we generate is utilized by Explore Lacrosse to promote tourism in the City of Onalaska and the surrounding community. And the letter reads, "To the City of Onalaska, I am writing to you in support of the Onalaska Art Keepers Rockin' Sunfish project. An eye-catching project such as this would have a natural tie to both Lake Onalaska and Sunny the Sunfish, two of the most desirable attractions for visitors when they come to stay and experience our region. This art installation would be a wonderful addition to the landscape and makeup of Onalaska, providing new points of interest for visitors to seek out while spending time in Onalaska. Many of those visitors will appreciate the local artwork, which will cause them to also spend a longer duration of time in Onalaska looking at and enjoying the rocking sunfish. This period of appreciation will slow down their travels, keeping them in Onalaska to discover more storefronts and restaurants and learning more about the city as a whole. Art projects always add depth to any community, and they become another point of interest for visitors as they find their way around the community. And equally important, they enrich local residents' quality of life. Public artwork is one of the calling cards of a vibrant community, which not only enhances visits from tourists, but also helps attract residents. It lets the world know that a community is a fan and expansive one and welcoming new ideas and people from all walks of life. I hope you will find your way to support this project and enjoy the benefits of what Rockin' Sunfish can bring to the City of Onalaska. Sincerely, AJ Friels, Executive Director, Explore Lacrosse." Now, earlier, the mayor had touched on the importance of tourism. And since we had our new logo, you've seen the term, we're a vibrant city. And, I hope that council will have the humility to recognize that if you have service groups in the community, and you have businesses in the community, and you have citizens in the communities coming up and saying, we want to have a better quality of life, and this is the appropriate place to put this. The Parks Board approved this. They thought it was a good idea. It's as a member, I'm going to go off track a little bit. As a member of several service organizations in this community, sometimes the City of Onalaska can be seen and deemed a difficult partner to work with. And it's not staff, it's usually council. And it's kind of hilarious when there are people that will sit up here and say, I'm always a supporter of everything you do. And then there's that big but, and then they get in the way and they fetter the works that people are trying to do. And I understand that we all have a role, but over time, when they see that again and again and again, it really kind of weighs down on those community organizations. And if you want people in the community to participate and be active and have this be a vibrant community, sometimes you got to work with them and let them do their thing. An art community it adds points of interest, and it makes a community a place where people want to live. And when people want to live, it's a better community. It drives up the property values. It makes it so, why would you live in other surrounding communities if you could live in the City of Onalaska? Because this place is great. Let's continue to make it great. Let's, make the dash fatter, as Mayor Joe once recently said. Let's let kids have fun. Let's, just Do what the park board said, do what the businesses said, do what the community organizations said. And if the rocking sunfish is a problem, if it becomes a nuisance, or it's just not interesting, or it becomes a maintenance issue, we can move it later. We can get rid of it if it is just a disaster. But you've got all this support from the community. Try it out for a summer. I mean, what's the worst that happens? If you hide it away, people aren't going to see it when they're driving by on Alaska. This should be something that they see driving down the street and say, hey, that looks really cool. I want to stop there. I'm going to check this out. What else do they have going on in Alaska? So, you know, I think we're overthinking this. I think we just try it for a little bit, see what happens. If the idea is that you can move it later, if it doesn't work there, if it becomes an issue, fine, we can move it. I don't think that drawing a line in the sand in spite of the face of the community is our best course of action. So let's give it a try. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Alder Jurassic, did you want to say anything? And Sean, I'll come to you next if you want to get your microphone ready. Or you don't have to speak. I'm just trying to give everyone a first chance and then we'll give everyone a second
did want to
chance and then we'll move forward.
I
So,
already spoke.
oh, I didn't, I thought you were just speaking because of, it was at Park Board.
Yeah, many different comments being made tonight. The only thing I keep on coming up with is the safety issue of that location. I can see it across the street, closer to the river. Yeah, because then you're away from the roads more. The location that they want to put it at, I can't see that right now. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Sean McAllister, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you very much. And I'm going to agree with Alderperson Stevens on this issue. I think the people that are in supportive of this in the council chambers there have spoken, and I agree with him completely that I think we should give it a chance to give it a try and go from there. So thank you.
Okay. The motion on the floor is, the short version is to place the sunfish, the rocking sunfish, anywhere other than Dash Park. We've had one round of discussion. I'll start a second round, and then we'll go. Amanda?
I just wanted to make a friendly reminder that our council rules do actually limit discussion to twice per person.
Yeah,
And so just keep that in mind as we go on the second round of discussion.
and that is why I was saying that. So hopefully, and I just didn't count Larry's first time because I felt like he was presenting the park board. Okay, so this is everyone's last chance. Okay, Stephen Knott.
Yeah, I just want to address some of the things I perceived that I heard anyway, and I have not personally heard anyone that is opposed to artwork in the city. I have not heard anyone who's opposed to the sunfish. There was opposition when they were talking about rocking horses, but my understanding is sunfish in conversation, as my perception, everyone here has been pretty supportive of it. So I just want to make sure that that is clear first off, because I know it was brought up that in a way which could be perceived that we were not. I appreciate what Oak does, but my concern remains that the input from the Parks and Rec Board and from Oak and other citizens has focused primarily on exposure, which Dash Park would do. But I still stand firm on that. This is not a safe place to be putting playground equipment, which is basically what this is. That's why and I also don't think it's a good fit, but my primary reason is the safety issue. So I'm going to support this. I think that Parks and Rec can determine the best place to meet safety, fit, and exposure, but eliminate Dash Park as an option.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Alder Wolf?
Thank you, Your Honor. When I look back in the minutes from last December, there was a topic of insurance coverage. Has that been explored, finalized? Where are we at with all of that? If we could have an update so we're all on the same page, so we're all hearing the same thing. Thank you.
Insurance is not an issue.
Is it not issue? So Oak would not be required to purchase anything.
No. We talked to CIVMIC and it should be covered under our policy.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like to say anything else? Nope. All right. Anybody else, or is everyone done? Sean, would you like a second chance to speak? Are
Nope,
you-
I'm all good, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll have Joanne restate the motion and then we'll take a vote by roll call.
The motion is approval of placement of the rocking sunfish anywhere but Dash Park.
And I just want to make sure, excuse me, I just want to make sure though, that part of that is that it goes to the park board for their placement. Because to me, that was very important.
Point of clarification, do you mean the Parks Department or the Park Board?
Parks Department. Parks Department.
Thank you for that clarification.
I just want to make sure, because I want to make sure we're all hearing the same thing.
Your Honor, for the record, a yes vote would mean the Parks Department can place it at any park except Dash Park. So we are specifically excluding the one park that there's support for, and a no vote would, what does a no vote do then at that point? The motion fails and then we could do another motion?
Excellent question. Yes, the motion fails and we need a new motion. Okay, any other questions or clarification? We want to clear it up on this end of the vote, not on the other end. Okay, Joanne, go ahead.
Sean McAllister,
No.
Dan Stevens,
I would be a no, but I will have to abstain.
Stephen Knott,
Yes.
Leanne Stokes,
Yes.
Larry Jurassic,
Yes.
Diane Wolf.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes with 4 yeses, 1 no, and 1 abstention. Thank you, everyone, and thanks for coming in and giving your input. Item 12, Public Transit Committee. I'll turn this one over to Sabrina.
Thank you, Mayor. In your packets tonight is the 2023 Mass Transit Operating Assistance Program. It's our state grant agreement. This is something we receive every year. So for the year 2023, we will receive $185,600. So we're just looking for approval of that so then we can submit this to the state so we can receive those dollars.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. It's been made by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic to approve the state grant agreement. Is there any discussion? Alder Jurassic.
Yeah, what was it last year?
Good question. I believe last year it was like slightly more than it is this year, slightly more. I think it was like 190,500. So it's very close to what it was last year.
We're getting more people using the system now than we did last year? Or?
No, it's just dependent on how the state allocates dollars to the different tiers of transits through the state.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for that. Was a good question. Any other questions or comments regarding this? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve the agreement. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 13 is a report from our interim city administrator. I'll turn it over to Amanda.
All right, good evening. Just a few updates this month. So in an effort to encourage city staff to use our aquatic center, as well as just another small benefit that we could offer our staff, encourage them that the city is a great place to work. We did offer all full-time employees, regular part-time employees, and also our elected officials free pool passes for the summer of 2023. As of today, we have had 40 employees and elected officials that have taken advantage of this. We have issued across those 40 employees 153 pool passes. We will be able to review usage at the end of the aquatic season because we have a card system. We can see how many times those 40 employees use those passes. Our employees were very, very appreciative. We received a lot of thank yous for this benefit. The majority of our employees were not in our rec desk system, which means that they're not actively participating in park and rec programs. So this got all of those 40 employees and their families in that system, which is great. It'll make any future registrations easier, and hopefully they took a look at some of our program offerings in the future. And just to reiterate, that, you know, we, of those passes that we had issued, the 40 passes, only one family had actually already purchased a pool pass. And so these really are new aquatic memberships that we issued this summer. So we're excited to see how that turns out, and hopefully they buy lots of concessions this summer. Centering on Alaska, we did meet with them to discuss their proposal. They are looking to dissolve and liquidate their assets actually quite quickly by the end of 2023. With that, they've been working with the La Crosse Community Foundation to set up an endowment to be able to turn the basket program over to the city. The hope would be that they will have raised enough money by year end that the program can sustain on the interest alone. They are at about $175,000 to date. And so they will be in front of you in July at FMP and Council to discuss that proposal. We are working on preliminary designs for the community center. We have those, I think, finalized to the point that that will be on the June Park and Recreation and Library Board and the July Council. Lastly, the city staff participated in brand training this last week. We offered 2 sessions, a 30-minute session for employees that don't deal a lot with our brand, but it did cover sort of why we did the project, what it means to be a brand, and did just give them some basic overview. We did have a longer, it didn't quite end up being about an hour and a half, maybe hour and 15-minute training that we did this morning for those staff that do a lot of document creation. So think memos, letterhead, especially our social media posts. And so we did training on that today. All of those were recorded. So if you'd like to watch either one of them, they are available on the S Drive. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Alder Knott.
Just one question, reference the centering on Alaska piece. Do we know what we believe it might cost annually to maintain that program out of the city?
So we, my understanding is they did receive a grant, which will cover all of the money for 2023. Because of that, they believe that there will be extra money to cover 2024. And so we think, we're not certain, and we might have more information next month, that we likely wouldn't need to touch the interest from the endowment until possibly 2025. And so the goal would be to cover as much of the cost as possible. We're able to get back money for our employee time watering, for the basket cost itself. And so there would be some cost to the city, but we wouldn't anticipate it would be any more than it is right now. I mean, the goal was to essentially not make the city pay any more than we currently are.
And what are we currently paying on that? Do we know? Even approximately?
I'm going to turn it over to Dan, who I think has a better handle on the numbers.
So the cost of the hanging baskets is roughly, $3,800. And then the cost of watering, I know last year Centering on Alaska covered our cost. It was right around $5,000 for staff time watering. Now the Centering on Alaska staff does the watering on weekends and holidays. So that'll be the dilemma that we have going forward. But I believe with some work, Sign Up Genius, some of the things like that, we potentially get volunteers to do that. So we don't have to pay staff to be in on weekends for overtime or things like that. But those are some of the things that we have to look at, and we'll be working through now between now and the park board, finance and personnel and common council with the agreement coming forward.
Thank you. Alder Knott.
So what I'm hearing then is we're actually already sitting pretty good, because just doing my quick infantry math here, 5%, using 5% annually off of 175K, which is a conservative amount. Hopefully we earn even more interest on that endowment. That's still 8.75K annually. And what I just heard is you're spending about 8.8 every year. So
there will be additional costs if we have to water on weekends. So that's the thing. Right now, we don't have to worry about watering on weekends.
okay.
So our staff is looking at things. We've had Amanda set up a great conversation with Centering on Alaska and the La Crosse Community Foundation. They have some different ideas. So, there's things that we're still working through, but knowing that we have the fund available there and collecting that interest, it puts the city in a very good situation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alder Stevens.
I just like to add that the fundraising efforts with Centering on Alaska is still ongoing. The idea is that there will be enough funds to raise that in perpetuity. And maybe to tie this to a previous point, Centering on Alaska last year almost voted themselves out of existence. And a lot of that was the relationship that had with council. So this is another example of people from the community doing something despite the efforts of council for the betterment of the city. So I applaud Centering on Alaska and their efforts.
Thank you. Any other questions on the projects? All right, Amanda, item B then.
All right, so we reviewed across the month of May. We received, I believe it was 23 website proposals, which at least in my time is the highest response to an RFP I've ever seen. We were able to narrow that down to 12 because our responses ranged from around 30,000 to over 400,000 for our website. And so, some of them didn't meet our criteria, were a little bit over cost, so we were able to cut it down to about half. And so we actually scored 12, and then we interviewed 3. And so of the 3 that we interviewed, out of 60 points, Revise received 53.5, which was 9 points higher than the next candidate. And they have some really great features as it relates to the calendaring system. We can run and set up all of our agendas through the website itself. It just has a lot of features and benefits that our current website does not have, and that I think will be very useful for our citizens. And so if you want to check out some of their websites, for instance, they do, the city of Largo, Florida was one. The city of Sturgeon Bay in Wisconsin is one. I would be happy to send a list of various websites. They will design it completely custom, and so it's less cookie cutter than some of the other ones that we reviewed, where we are very much picking a template. We get to pick our designer, and the designer will basically build it from the ground up. It will be ADA compliant, among other things. And so I did just get the contract actually while I was on vacation, so I have not had a time to review that yet. So we're basically asking for approval pending review of the contract tonight.
Thank you. We get a motion on the floor and then we'll have a discussion.
I'll
Or
move
if
to
you have to
approve
ask-
pending review.
Okay.
A second.
Motion by Alder Knott, seconded by Larry Jurassic. Alder Wolf.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Amanda, if you could send us that list, that would be wonderful. So this was a 2023 capital improvement project,
Correct.
and what are we looking at the cost of this, not to exceed, or what, I should say, what have we budgeted? Let's start with that.
Yep. So we have 42,000 budgeted. And if you give me just 1 second, I believe their total proposal came in. Obviously under budget, but give me 1 second and I'll give you
That's
the
fine.
actual number. So it's $38,700. Their annual services were $5,900. So everyone had a component of an annual service fee because we are going to need somebody to host the website. And so there was a hosting component on everyone. That was $5,900, which was on the lower end for hosting fees. The other thing that they do is they will actually give us a redesign in year 4.
Say
And
that one
so-
more time.
If we would like, they will give us a redesign in year 4.
Yeah, because it seems like we age out. I see Eric Scholander in the office, in the audience, and I know we've been through the redesigns a few times and the importance and how fast they burn out and they need to be refreshened. If I may ask, who sat on the committee or the grading committee?
Yeah, so for the initial round, it was Rebecca, myself, Katie, Joe, our new IT director, and Dan. And then when we went to the interviews, we brought in Joanne and Stacy Wilk.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve pending review of the contract by the city attorney. Is there any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We're looking forward to that. Item 14 is closed session. To consider a motion to convene in closed session under section 19.85, paragraph 1, paragraph C of the Wisconsin statutes for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically the contract for the city administrator. If any action is required in open session as a result of the closed session, the council will reconvene in open session to take the necessary action and or continue on with the printed agenda. Do we have a motion?
Move to go into closed session.
I second.
We have a motion to go into closed session by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Leanne Stokes. The voting will be by roll call.
Diane Wolf. Aye. Dan Stevens,
Aye.
Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Sean McAllister,
Aye.
Larry Jurassic,
Aye.
Leanne Stokes.
Aye.
Thank you. We are in closed session. The motion passes. The time is 7:52. We'll have a short break.
Sean, don't go away.
I'll be right here.
Great, thank you. And I just want to let staff know too that Sean said he could hear everything perfect officially. In session, and oh, now we are being recorded now. So Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Let's adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Alder Stevens, second by Alder Not to adjourn at 10:08 PM. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of said motion say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Good night. And
Good night.
good night, Sean. Thank you so much for participating this evening and